Yankees top pitching prospect, according to Baseball America, Cam Schlittler, is set to make his MLB debut on Wednesday against the Mariners. To get a little insight on what Yankee fans should expect from the 6'6 righty, I welcome on Baseball America writer Geoff Pontes. Jeff, how are we doing?
Pretty good, man. How you doing?
I'm
Happy
doing
to be
well.
here.
Looking forward to seeing what the rookie pitcher has. And Yankee fans, he got on the map this spring training because of that name. Obviously, that stuck out. Now he's gotten into the Yankee fans' minds because of his results. He's climbed the organizational charts. What has he excelled at this year, Jeff, that has now made him the top prospect and the guy to go to with Clark Schmidt now on the IL out for the season?
Yeah, and I think it's good timing, in terms of his breakout and when the Yankees really knew it needed, obviously, with a lot of expectations within the rotation, but also a lot of injury concerns as well. What we've seen from Schlittler over the last couple of years has just been consistent progression in a few different areas. I think number one, fastball velocity, and that really took a big jump into sort of plus territory, so like well above average territory. When we use terms like plus or above average or plus plus, that's kind of what it means. It was like 94 to 95 last year on average. This year, it's more like 96 to 97 miles an hour. We've seen him as high as 99, almost flirting with 100 miles an hour. It's an interesting sort of shape on the fastball in terms of how the pitch moves, gets some ride, but also some cut. So not a lot of arm side movement, but that combination of ride, cut, and velocity, really tough for a lot of batters because it doesn't really move either arm side or glove side. It's sort of split neutral because of that. Gets a lot of weak contact and gets a fair amount of swings and misses. The other thing that he took a real big progression is the breaking ball shape. That he had sort of a few different breaking ball shapes over the last couple of years that would blend together. What I mean by breaking balls or sliders, cutters, or a curveball. He kind of has three different, very specific shapes. He has a harder slider, is what some people call it. It's really a cutter. That does get some ride, but gets a little bit of glove side movement as well. He throws it really, really hard. It's a breaking ball in the low 90s. So it's anywhere from 89 to like 92, 93, sometimes 94 miles per hour. He has a sweeper slider that has a lot of glove side movement. It's a hand of God sweeper is kind of the inside baseball term for it, which means it gets some ride like a fastball and also gets some sweep. He throws that pitch incredibly hard for the archetype as well. Mixes in a curveball, will throw a splitter so often. So it's a deep arsenal of pitches, but I think you really hone in on that four-seam fastball that cuts and then the three different breaking ball shapes in terms of what he's going to show and what he's going to move around the zone.
Is there anything the Yankees or you guys at Baseball America have pointed to that have shown this progression, or is it just another year in the system, another year developing? What has really helped have them take off here?
Yeah, I think it's just Schlittler is from Massachusetts. Honestly, he's a New England guy. Matt Hyde, the New England Yankees scout area guy up here in the New England area, just does a fantastic job. Has for a long time. He was a multi-sport athlete out of high school. Wasn't heavily recruited. Was a basketball player. Which is kind of common for Northeast or, guys from New York as well, kind of fall into that category of high school athletes that play a bunch of different sports. So they're not honed in like a California, Texas, a Florida guy. And I think we've just seen consistent progression. Went to Northeastern University, wasn't even their most highly touted recruit at that point in time, was Sebastian Keane, who's somebody else who's in the Yankee system. And, Schlittler just took a step forward every year, and it was the same as a professional. And I think a lot of it is just the aptitude, and that's kind of a tough thing to measure if you're not coaching that player and you're hearing it secondhand. But I think a good way to sort of look back and post-mortem kind of say, all right, there's obviously some aptitude, some ability to adjust, which is a huge part of baseball, and, taking those next steps, because you're going to constantly be met with failure, be met with challenges, and it's about how you round that out. So I think a lot of it was, credit to the Yankees pitching development and the work that they're doing. It's the strength development as well. Eric Cressy, another guy that actually has Massachusetts, New England roots as well. Works with Schlittler, and a lot of these other guys in the offseason are working at Cressy Sports. And there's a lot of tie-in in terms of baseball-specific strength training, but also strength training for pitchers Cressy's record with Kluber and Scherzer and some of these other great, longtime major league starters that he's had success with, I think sort of speaks to what the program has done. So I think there's a lot of credit and kudos go out to Yankees player development, but the player as well, just in terms of doing the right thing so we can take those progressions, because there was no poison pill here of like aha moment. He did this with his mechanics or switched, a hitter changed his setup and then all of a sudden he hit. It was, little drips and drabs over the course of years that sort of built up to this sort of groundswell that's allowed him to take this step forward, and now has 4 different pitches that I think grade out as average or better.
We know as Yankee fans, Geoff, the Devin Williams changeup. We know the Max Fried curveball. We know the Fernando Cruz splitter. What is that pitch for Cam Schlittler that we should have an eye on?
Yeah, I think it's going to depend, on the situation, on the count. He's a guy that likes to mix it up, use a variety of different pitches, depending on the scouting report, depending on the player in particular. I think the big one you're going to consistently go back to is that mid to high 90s cut 4-seam fastball. He gets really good swing and miss numbers on that pitch. He commands it really well. Had a 30% in-zone swing and miss rate this year, which is well above average for a 4-seam fastball. 46% whiff rate against that pitch overall. Above average to plus, typically with that metric in the upper minors, is anything above 30%. So 46% kind of stands out. I think he'll use that slider in other situations to sort of get bad contact when he needs it. If it's somebody he knows makes a lot of contact, he may not be able to get a whiff. He'll go back to that slider. The nastiest pitch, the one that's going to show up on Pitching Ninja and, will be clips on Twitter and the stuff that you show in terms of the highlights. I think that's going to be that sweeper, that hand to God sweeper. It gets ride. It gets a lot of glove side break. It's a really hard pitch. And overall, throughout the season in the minors, it's just dominated in terms of his swing and miss numbers. 57% whiff rate against that pitch. When he gets swings, more than half the time in the minors, it's gotten a swing and miss. So I think that's the one you're going to hone in on. He'll throw the 4-seam fastball and that sort of cutter a lot more than he'll throw the sweeper slider.
Geoff, I like to think I watch a lot of ball, but I've never heard of the hand of God sweeper. Who is another player in the majors that throws a hand of God sweeper? Because I love that. That's a great name for it.
Man, I gotta think about who it is off the top of my head. It's a term that I initially heard from Driveline, like sort of describing some of these sweepers that have, some ride as well. If I'm not mistaken, Guardians pitcher Gavin Williams might have a sweeper that's kind of similar to this. If I had the numbers in front of me, I could probably pull a few guys up. But off the top of my head, there's no one that's sort of made it their defining pitch yet. So maybe it will be Schlittler will be the guy to do that,
He might be a hard guy to comp because of this hand to God sweeper, but who would be your player comp? Who would be your pitcher comp out there that reminds you of Cam Schlittler?
Ooh. It's a tough one too, because, he's a bigger right-handed pitcher. It's not somebody that's going to try to lead the league in strikeouts every year, but is going to get deeper into starts, is going to find, a variety of ways to sort of get you out. Man, off the top of my head, I'm trying to think of like a bigger right-handed pitcher that has like a similar arsenal to this that's been effective over the last couple of years. And it's like height-wise, obviously the first one you go to is like Paul Skeens, but he's not going to be in that range of pitcher. I mean, I think it's probably more like a number 4 to maybe, if things go really well, like a mid-rotation number 3 starter. It's just tough thinking off the top of my head what the primary comp for a guy like that is going to be.
The way you've described him, and tell me if I'm wrong, is it Luis Gil, a guy in the Yankees rotation, AL Rookie of the Year, might throw not as hard as Luis, but the bigger frame right-handed pitcher?
Yeah, I mean, I think like a body comp probably makes sense there. It's just it's a little bit more pitchability than Gil, maybe a little bit less raw stuff, though that's kind of came to fruition. I don't think it's all that different from Gavin Williams. Like some of their pitches move a little bit differently. But Williams is 6'6", kind of a stronger guy, has similar fastball velocity. His command is kind of backed up, but in terms of like the types of players they were coming up to the big leagues, I think it's kind of similar because they have some pitches. They have the cutter, they have a 4-seam fastball. They throw a curveball. They don't really throw a changeup. but also have, a really good slider that grades out really high on stuff models and all those sort of things that measure, potential expected success with a particular pitch.
Geoff, thank you. Hopefully this gives Yankee fans insight on another young pitcher coming up through the system that they should be excited about.
Absolutely. I hope so.